The hillside mansion was silent. So silent you could hear wheelchair wheels rolling across stone floors. Elena Ashford, 36, millionaire paralyzed from the waist down after an accident, known for being impossible, had gone through over 20 assistants in 6 months. None lasted more than a few days. That morning the door opened. A man in a worn jacket walked in. Caleb Rowan, 33, single father, taking the job because he desperately needed money for his daughter. Elena looked at him coldly. "You'll quit in 3 days like everyone else." Caleb just smiled slightly. "We'll see about that. Before we begin, let me know where in the world you're watching this from. I'd really love to know that." Now let's start. Caleb Rowan had learned that desperation made you brave in ways pride never could. Accepting jobs you'd normally refuse because a 7-year-old daughter needed food and stability more than her father needed dignity. At 33, he'd worked as a nurse's aide, a home health worker, even briefly as a hospice caregiver. Jobs that most people found too emotionally demanding or physically exhausting, but jobs that paid better than retail or food service and offered some flexibility for single parenthood. The position as personal assistant to Elena Ashford had come through an agency that specialized in difficult placements. "I'm going to be honest with you," the agency coordinator had said. "Ms. Ashford is extremely challenging. She's gone through 23 assistants in the past 6 months. The longest anyone lasted was 12 days. Most quit within 48 hours. What makes her so difficult? She's paralyzed from a climbing accident 2 years ago. Used to be this adventurous, athletic person. Now she's angry, bitter, takes it out on anyone trying to help her, throws things, yells, makes impossible demands. The pay is excellent because nobody wants the job." Caleb had looked at the salary figure, nearly triple what he was making now, enough to catch up on rent, replace Maya's worn shoes, maybe even save something for emergencies. "I'll take it." "You sure? I have to warn you, the turnover is brutal, and she won't fire you, she'll just make you want to quit." "I don't quit easy." The mansion sat on a hillside overlooking the city, all glass and modern architecture and expensive emptiness. Caleb had never been in a house like this. Everything was sleek, minimalist, carefully designed, but it felt cold, like a showroom rather than a home. A housekeeper who looked exhausted let him in. "You're the new assistant? Good luck, you'll need it." She led him to a large room overlooking the garden. Elena Ashford sat in a motorized wheelchair by the window, staring out at nothing. She didn't turn when Caleb entered. "Miss Ashford, I'm Caleb Rowan. The agency sent me." "I know who you are." Elena's voice was sharp. "They always send someone. You'll quit like the rest." "I don't plan to quit." "They never do, but they always leave." Elena finally turned her wheelchair around. She was younger than Caleb expected, maybe 36. Dark hair pulled back severely, sharp cheekbones, the kind of face that was probably striking before bitterness settled into every line. Her legs were covered with a blanket, hands resting on the wheelchair controls. "The agency tell you I'm difficult?" "They mentioned it. Difficult is being polite. I'm a nightmare. I throw things, I make impossible demands. I fire people for breathing wrong. Then it's good I don't breathe wrong?" Elena's eyes narrowed. "You think you're funny?" "No, I think I'm here to do a job. Tell me what you need." For a moment, Elena seemed caught off guard by the directness. Then her expression hardened again. "Fine. I need my medication. The bottles are in the bathroom. Bring me the blood pressure pills and the pain medication." Caleb went to the bathroom, found the medications among dozens of prescription bottles, brought them back, held them out. Elena stared at his outstretched right hand. "Wrong hand." "What?" "I take pills with my left hand. You should have offered them to my left hand." Caleb switched hands calmly, offering the bottles again. Elena knocked them to the floor. "Too late, you already messed up. Pick them up." Caleb bent down, collected the bottles without comment. "You're supposed to be angry now," Elena said. "Supposed to tell me I'm being unreasonable and walk out." "I'm not angry. You want me to be angry because that gives you a reason to push me away. But I'm not playing that game." Caleb set the bottles on the side table. "I'm going to be direct with you, Miss Ashford. I need this job. I have a 7-year-old daughter who needs shoes and food and stability, so I'm not quitting over medication bottles or attitude. You want me gone? You'll have to fire me officially. But until then, I'm here to help whether you want help or not." Elena stared at him, clearly not used to this response. "You have a daughter?" "Yes, Maya, she's 7. "Where is she now?" After school program until 5. Then I pick her up. So you'll be leaving early. The agency said hours are 8 to 6 with flexibility for appointments. I'll be here 8 to 5. Pick up Maya and can return for evening duties if needed. I don't like children. Good thing she won't be here then. They locked eyes for a long moment. Finally, Elena looked away. Your duties start with helping me with physical therapy. Equipment is in the gym downstairs. I hate every minute of it, and I'll probably make you hate it too. I can handle it. We'll see. The physical therapy session was exactly as unpleasant as promised. Elena complained about every exercise, criticized Caleb's technique even though he was following the therapist's written instructions precisely. At one point threw a resistance band across the room. Caleb just picked it up and continued. You're doing it wrong, Elena snapped. Show me the right way then. I can't. That's the whole point. I can't do anything right anymore. Then help me do it right for you. Tell me what needs to adjust. This seemed to throw Elena off balance again, like she was used to people either coddling her or fighting with her, not asking for collaboration. By the end of the session, Elena was exhausted and irritable. I'm tired. I want to rest. Let me help you to the bedroom. I can get there myself. I'm sure you can, but part of my job is assisting with transfers, so let me do my job. Caleb helped transfer Elena from the wheelchair to the bed, following the safety procedures he'd learned in previous caregiving positions. Elena lay back against the pillows, looking smaller somehow without the wheelchair. You're not scared of me, she observed. No. Why not? Because I've seen people at their worst. Grief, pain, fear, anger. You're not scary. You're just hurt. Don't psychoanalyze me. Not psychoanalyzing, just observing. Caleb adjusted the pillows, made sure the call button was within reach. I'll be in the kitchen preparing lunch. Call if you need anything. As he left the room, he heard Elena's voice quieter now. You'll quit. They always do. I already told you, I don't quit easy. That first day set the pattern for the week. Elena tested him constantly. Impossible demands, sudden mood swings, deliberate difficulties. Caleb remained calm through all of it. He learned Elena's routines, figured out what actually helped versus what was just performance, started anticipating needs before they were voiced. By day 3, Elena was still trying to break him, but with less conviction. You're still here, she said that morning, sounding almost surprised. I told you I would be. Most people are gone by now. I'm not most people. Clearly. On day 5, something shifted. Caleb was helping Elena with lunch when a photo fell from a shelf. He picked it up automatically. The photo showed Elena on a mountain summit, arms raised in triumph, alive with joy. That was 3 years ago, Elena said quietly. Before the accident. I was free climbing in Colorado. Fell 50 feet. Lucky to be alive, they said. Didn't feel lucky. What happened? Equipment failure. My harness clip broke. I should have checked it more carefully. Now I live with the consequences. Caleb studied the photo, seeing the person Elena used to be. You miss it, the climbing. I miss everything. The movement, the freedom, the feeling of being capable. Now I can't even stand up without help. The physical therapist's notes say you might regain some function with consistent work. Might, maybe, possibly, I've heard it all. Meanwhile, I'm stuck like this. You're only stuck if you stop trying. Elena laughed bitterly. Easy for you to say. Actually, it's not. Something in Caleb's tone made Elena look up. My wife died 4 years ago. Cancer. Fast and brutal. Left me with a 3-year-old and no idea how to be both parents at once. I was stuck too. Stuck in grief, stuck in fear, stuck in the feeling that I'd never be enough for Maya alone. What changed? I realized being stuck was a choice. The grief was real, the fear was real, but staying paralyzed by them was something I was choosing. So I chose differently. That's not the same thing. You're right. My situation was different. But the principle is the same. You can let your circumstances define you, or you can define yourself despite your circumstances. Elena was quiet for a long moment. You make it sound simple. It's not simple. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. But it was necessary. For Maya. For me. For the life I wanted us to have. That evening, as Caleb was leaving, Elena called out, Rowan. Caleb turned back. You lasted the week. That's longer than anyone else. I'll be here Monday too. Why? Because you need help. And because I'm starting to think maybe you're not quite as impossible as you want people to believe. For the first time, Elena smiled, just slightly, but it was there. Don't tell anyone. I have a reputation to maintain. Your secret's safe with me. Driving to pick up Maya, Caleb felt something unexpected. Not just relief at keeping the job, but something like purpose. Elena Ashford was difficult, angry, pushing everyone away. But underneath that, Caleb recognized something familiar. Someone who was scared of being abandoned again. Someone who was testing people to see if they'd stay. Someone who needed to know they weren't alone. Caleb understood that completely, because he'd been that person too. The second week, Caleb brought Maya to work on a day when her school had a professional development closure, and the after-school program was closed. "I'm sorry for the short notice," Caleb told Elena. "My usual backup fell through. She'll be quiet, I promise." She brought books and coloring. Elena looked distinctly uncomfortable. "I told you I don't like children. You told me that. Maya, this is Miss Ashford. Can you say hello?" Maya, 7 years old with her mother's bright eyes and Caleb's stubborn chin, approached without fear. "Hi, Miss Ashford. Daddy says you live in a castle." "It's not a castle. It looks like one. Do you have a dragon?" Despite herself, Elena's lips twitched. "No dragon. That's sad. Every castle should have a dragon. I can draw you one if you want. I suppose that would be acceptable." Maya settled on the floor with her art supplies while Caleb helped Elena through morning exercises. She was quiet as promised, absorbed in her drawing. After physical therapy, while Elena was resting, Maya approached her wheelchair. "I finished your dragon." She held up a colorful drawing showing a woman in a wheelchair with a large, friendly-looking dragon beside them. "The dragon's name is Spark," Maya explained. "She helps the knight go on adventures. See? The knight can't walk, but Spark carries her to amazing places." Elena stared at the drawing for a long time. "Why did you make the knight unable to walk?" "Because you can't walk, right? Daddy says everyone should see themselves in stories. So I made a knight like you." "And the dragon helps?" "Everyone needs help sometimes, that's what Daddy says. He says asking for help isn't weak, it's smart. Your daddy says a lot of wise things. He's the smartest daddy in the world." Elena looked at Caleb, who was pretending not to listen while preparing lunch. "She thinks you're smart." "She's biased." "Can I keep this drawing?" Elena asked Maya. "Really, you want to keep it?" "If you don't mind, I don't have much art on these walls." Maya beamed. "I can make you more. Do you want a unicorn next, or maybe a phoenix?" "Surprise me." That afternoon, Elena was noticeably less hostile. Even asked Caleb questions about Maya, what she liked, how she was doing in school. "She seems happy," Elena observed. "She is mostly. She misses her mom sometimes. Has bad days, but kids are resilient. More resilient than adults, apparently." "I don't know about that. I think adults just have more practice hiding when they're not okay." Over the following days, a routine developed. Caleb learned what actually helped Elena versus what was just for show. The physical therapy mattered, but so did the conversations during exercises. The medication schedule was important, but so was simply sitting with Elena during difficult moments instead of leaving her alone with her pain. Elena started participating more actively in her own care. Stopped throwing things mostly. Still complained, but with less venom. One evening, Caleb stayed late to help with a particularly difficult therapy session. "I hate this," Elena said through gritted teeth, trying to engage her core muscles. "I hate every second of not being able to do this easily." "I know. Do you? Do you really know what it's like to have your body betray you?" "Not the same way. But I know what it's like to feel like your life is outside your control. When Claire was dying, I felt helpless. Watching someone you love fade and being unable to stop it. That's its own kind of paralysis." Elena paused in her exercises. "Homan, how did you cope?" "Badly at first. Drank too much, withdrew from friends, barely functioned. Then one night Maya had a nightmare, and I realized I was so lost in my own grief that I was failing to be there for her. That's when I decided I had to choose differently." "Just like that? One moment of clarity and everything changed?" "Not everything. Not immediately. But I started making different choices. Small ones at first. Getting up when I wanted to stay in bed. Eating even when I wasn't hungry. Showing up for Maya even when I felt empty. Eventually, those small choices added up to a different life. What if I don't have anyone to show up for?" Caleb looked at her directly. "You have yourself. That should be enough." The words seemed to hit Elena hard. Later that week, during physical therapy, Elena actually pushed herself without complaint. "You're doing really well," Caleb encouraged. "Don't patronize me. I'm not. You're genuinely improving. Your core strength is measurably better than 2 weeks ago." "It doesn't feel better. Progress rarely does in the moment. But look at the logs. You're holding positions longer, need less assistance with transfers. That's real progress. Elena studied the therapy logs, seeming surprised. I didn't realize, because you're focused on what you can't do instead of what you can do, which is understandable but not helpful. My ex-boyfriend said the same thing before he left. Said I was too focused on limitations. When did he leave? About a year after the accident. Waited long enough to not look completely heartless, then left because he couldn't handle the burden of my care. Direct quote. I'm sorry, that's rough. Made me realize nobody wants to deal with this long term. Why I push assistants away. They're going to leave anyway. Might as well speed up the process. Except I haven't left. Yet, Elena, I'm going to tell you something, and I need you to actually hear it. I'm not leaving because you're difficult. I'm not leaving because this job is hard. I'm not leaving because you're in a wheelchair. I'm staying because this is my job, because Maya needs stability, and because, frankly, I think you're more interesting than you give yourself credit for. Interesting? You're smart, observant, have a dark sense of humor that actually makes me laugh. Yeah, you're also stubborn and occasionally infuriating, but that's just human. Everyone's difficult in their own way. Elena was quiet processing this. My ex said I was too much, too angry, too demanding, too broken. Your ex was wrong. You're not broken. You're adapting to circumstances you never chose. That's not the same thing. You really believe that? I do. Something shifted in Elena's expression. The armor she wore constantly seemed to thin slightly. Thank you for staying, for not treating me like I'm fragile. You're welcome. And for what it's worth, you're one of the easier people I've cared for. Last placement, the guy tried to bite me, twice. Elena laughed, genuinely amused. The sound transformed her face, showing glimpses of who she might have been before the accident hardened her. Tried to bite you? Dementia patient. Thought I was stealing his wife, who'd been dead for 10 years. Got him settled eventually, but it was touch and go for a while. They traded caregiving horror stories for the rest of the session. For the first time, the exercises felt less like punishment and more like just part of the day. That evening, as Caleb was leaving, Elena stopped him. Rowan, Caleb. Yeah? Would you consider bringing Maya tomorrow? I liked having her energy around. Caleb smiled. She'd love that. Fair warning, though, she'll probably talk your ear off. I'm counting on it. This house is too quiet. Has been for a long time. If you've ever had someone show you patience when you were at your worst, share your thoughts below. Sometimes the greatest gift is simply someone who refuses to give up on us. 3 weeks into working for Elena, Caleb arrived to find her staring at her phone with an expression somewhere between fury and devastation. Everything okay? My ex is getting married. Sent me an invitation, like it's some kind of courtesy. Elena threw the phone across the room. It hit the wall and clattered to the floor. Caleb picked it up, checked for damage, set it on the table. You want to talk about it? What's there to talk about? He left me when I was at my lowest. Now he's marrying some adventure travel blogger who can actually walk. Probably sends me the invitation to show me what I could have had if I wasn't broken. Or maybe he's just being polite and you're projecting. Don't defend him. I'm not defending him. I'm suggesting your interpretation might be colored by pain. Elena's hands gripped the wheelchair armrests. You don't understand. Marcus left because he didn't want to be with someone in a wheelchair. Said he'd signed up for adventures and excitement, not becoming a caregiver. He made it very clear that I wasn't enough anymore. Then he was wrong about you not being enough. Was he though? Look at me. I can't climb mountains, can't travel easily, can't do any of the things that made me who I was. What do I have to offer anyone? You're asking the wrong question. What's the right question then? Not what you can offer, but who you are beyond what you can do. Your worth isn't determined by your ability to climb mountains. Easy for you to say. Actually, it's not. When Claire died, I asked myself the same question. What did I have to offer as a father when I could barely function? When I couldn't give Maya her mother back, couldn't take away her grief, couldn't even cook dinner most nights without burning it? That's different. How? You're still whole, capable. You can do things. Caleb pulled up a chair, sat so he was eye level with Elena. I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone at work. After Claire died, I had a breakdown. Complete mental collapse. Couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. Maya stayed with neighbors while I fell apart. Child services almost got involved. That's how close I came to losing her. Elena's expression softened slightly. What changed? On day 4, Maya came into my room. She was 3 years old, climbed into bed with me and said, Daddy's sad, but Maya loves you anyway. Just that. Simple acceptance that I was broken but still loved. It gave me enough strength to get up, get help, start putting the pieces back together. You had a reason to get up, your daughter. And you have reasons too. They just look different. Every day you do physical therapy, you're choosing to try. Every time you engage with me instead of pushing me away, you're choosing connection. Those are brave choices. They don't feel brave. They never do. Courage never feels like courage when you're in the middle of it. It just feels like surviving one more day. Elena was quiet for a long time. I was so angry when Marcus left. Not just because he left, but because part of me understood why. Who wants to tie themselves to someone who can't be a full partner? Elena, being a partner isn't about physical ability. It's about showing up emotionally, supporting each other, building a life together. You can do all of that. Can I? I can barely take care of myself. You're learning to. That's what all this work is about. And for what it's worth, Marcus leaving says more about him than it does about you. Real love doesn't leave when things get hard. You sound certain about that. I am. Claire and I had 4 years together after Maya was born. Good years, hard years, everything in between. When she got sick, she made me promise something. What? To not let grief make me bitter. To stay open to connection. To love again if the chance came. She said life was too short to close yourself off because of pain. Have you loved again? Caleb smiled sadly. No, haven't met anyone who fits into our life yet. Maya comes first, always. Most people don't want the complexity of dating a single parent, but I'm not close to the possibility. Doesn't that make you angry? That your circumstances limit your options? Sometimes, but I choose to see it differently. My circumstances don't limit my options. They clarify them. Anyone who can't accept Maya and me as a package isn't someone I want anyway. Elena seemed to consider this. I've been pushing people away because I assumed they'd leave eventually anyway. Speed up the inevitable. Except some people won't leave. You just have to give them the chance to stay. Like you. Like me. They sat in comfortable silence for a few minutes. Finally, Elena spoke. I should probably respond to the invitation. Politely decline. Or you could just delete it and move on. You don't owe him anything. That feels petty. Sometimes petty is appropriate. He hurt you. You're allowed to protect yourself from further contact. Elena managed a small smile. When did you become so wise? Years of therapy and countless parenting books. Wisdom is just accumulated mistakes plus self-awareness. That evening, when Caleb brought Maya, she immediately noticed Elena's mood. Ms. Ashford looked sad. Did something happen? She got some news that was difficult, Caleb explained. Maya approached Elena's wheelchair. When I'm sad, Daddy lets me help with dinner. Cooking makes sad smaller. Want to help us cook? Elena looked surprised. I don't cook. You can learn. Daddy says learning new things is good for being happy. I'm not sure I can help much from a wheelchair. You have hands, right? Hands can do lots of things. Come on. Before Elena could protest, Maya had wheeled her into the kitchen. Caleb had planned to make simple pasta, but Maya insisted Elena needed to participate. Ms. Ashford, you can stir the sauce. Daddy, put the pot where Ms. Ashford can reach. Caleb adjusted the stovetop setup so Elena could safely reach the pot. Handed her a wooden spoon. Okay, show me what to do, Elena said somewhat awkwardly. Maya narrated enthusiastically, making the process fun despite its simplicity. Elena stirred the sauce. Added seasonings Maya handed her, tasted when she insisted. It's good, she admitted. Really good, actually. That's because you made it. Food tastes better when you make it yourself. That's science. Is it? Maybe, Daddy, is that science? Close enough, Caleb laughed. They ate dinner together, the three of them around the kitchen island. Elena was noticeably more relaxed. I haven't cooked in years, she said. Not since before the accident. I assumed I couldn't. Lots of things are possible with adaptation, Caleb pointed out. You just have to be willing to try differently, not give up entirely. Maybe I've given up on too many things. Then start taking things back, one at a time. After Maya went to sleep on the couch, Caleb and Elena stayed in the kitchen, talking. She's a remarkable kid, Elena observed. She is. Gets her optimism from her mother. Claire always saw possibilities where I saw obstacles. I wish I'd met her. She would have liked you. She had a soft spot for people who hid their kindness behind toughness. I'm not kind. You let a 7-year-old boss you around in your own kitchen. That's kind. Elena smiled. Fair point. Can I ask you something? Caleb ventured. When was the last time you left this house? Medical appointments, that's it. When was the last time you did something just because you wanted to? Not therapy, not necessity, just for enjoyment? Elena thought about it. I can't remember. That's a problem. You're living like you're waiting for your life to start again instead of living the life you have now. What do you suggest? Start small. Go to a park. Visit a museum. Get coffee somewhere other than your kitchen. Remind yourself that life is still happening outside these walls. What if people stare? Some will, most won't. And the ones who stare? Their discomfort is their problem, not yours. You make it sound simple. It's not simple. It's scary and uncomfortable and sometimes frustrating. But it's also necessary. You can't heal in isolation. Elena looked out the window at the city lights. Will you come with me the first time? I don't think I can do it alone. Of course. Maya too if you want. She's good at making adventures out of ordinary things. I'd like that. As Caleb was leaving that night, carrying a sleeping Maya to the car, Elena called out softly. Caleb, thank you for not letting me stay stuck. That's what I'm here for. Well, that and making sure you don't fire your 24th assistant. You're more than an assistant. I don't know what you are exactly, but you're important. You're important too, Elena. I hope you're starting to believe that. If you've ever needed someone to remind you that you matter, subscribe to Solo Parent Stories for more tales of finding hope in unexpected places. The following week, Caleb found Elena in the gym at 6 a.m., 2 hours before their usual session. Couldn't sleep, Elena explained. Thought I'd try working out. Yes, sure. How long have you been here? About an hour. I want to try standing with a support frame. Caleb looked at the parallel bars that had sat unused since he'd started working here. Your physical therapist cleared you for that? Months ago, I refused to try. Said it was pointless. But I've been thinking about what you said, about taking things back one at a time. Okay, let me spot you. We'll take it slow. They positioned the wheelchair between the parallel bars. Caleb helped Elena grip the bars securely. On 3, I'm going to help you stand. The frame will hold most of your weight. I'll support your torso. Ready? No, but let's do it anyway. 1, 2, 3. Elena pushed with her arms while Caleb provided support. Her legs trembled, barely holding any weight. But for 5 seconds, she was standing. Then her legs gave out, and she sat back heavily in the wheelchair. Damn it. You did it. 5 seconds. That's incredible. 5 seconds isn't standing. It's barely anything. It's 5 more seconds than you've managed in 2 years. That's progress. Elena's hands were shaking. It's not enough. It's enough for today. Tomorrow we try for 6 seconds, then 7. That's how progress works. What if I can't do more? What if this is as good as it gets? Caleb crouched so he was eye level with Elena. Then this is as good as it gets. And you learn to build a life within those parameters. But Elena, I don't think this is your limit. I think you're stronger than you believe. How can you know that? Because I've watched you for weeks now. I've seen you push through exercises that hurt. I've seen you try things you claimed were impossible. You're not weak. You're just scared. I'm terrified, Elena admitted quietly. Terrified of trying and failing, of hoping and being disappointed, of working this hard and still ending up stuck. I know, but fear doesn't protect you from disappointment. It just keeps you from possibility. They sat there for a moment, Elena processing this. Tell me something, she said eventually. When Claire died, were you scared of moving forward? Absolutely. Scared of failing Maya, scared of making wrong choices, scared of being alone forever, still scared sometimes. But you did it anyway. I did it anyway, because the alternative was staying paralyzed by fear, and that wasn't fair to Maya or to me. Elena looked at the parallel bars, then at Caleb. I want to try again. You sure? We can wait until tomorrow. No, now while I still have courage. They tried again and again and again. By the 10th attempt, Elena managed 8 seconds. Her legs were shaking badly, face red with effort, but she was standing. When she sat back down, tears were streaming down her face. I did it. I actually stood. You did. And tomorrow you'll do it again. And the day after that. Elena wiped at her eyes, not bothering to hide her emotions. Why do you believe in me when I don't believe in myself? Because someone has to. Might as well be me. Over the following days, Elena pushed herself harder than she had in months. Standing sessions increased from seconds to minutes. She started doing additional exercises on her own, even began researching advanced adaptive techniques. Maya noticed the change immediately. Ms. Ashford looks happier. Did something good happen? She's been working very hard on getting stronger. Is she going to walk again? I don't know, sweetheart, but she's trying, which is what matters. One afternoon, Maya brought Elena a drawing of a woman standing with support bars. This is you being brave, she explained. Elena stared at the drawing for a long time. I'm not brave. Yes, you are. Daddy says brave is being scared but doing things anyway. You're scared of standing, but you do it. That's brave. Your daddy is very smart. I know, that's why I listened to him. You should too. After Maya left with Caleb that evening, Elena sat alone in her gym, looking at the drawing. For the first time in 2 years, she felt something like hope. 2 weeks later, Elena managed to stand for a full minute without her legs giving out. Caleb had to physically restrain himself from cheering too loudly. How does it feel? Terrifying, amazing. Like maybe I'm not as broken as I thought. You were never broken, just healing in your own time. Elena sat back in her wheelchair, exhausted but exhilarated. I want to try walking with the walker next week. That's a big step, literally. I know, but I think I'm ready, or I will be, with your help. You've always had my help. You just had to be willing to accept it. That evening, Elena asked Caleb to stay after work ended. I need to tell you something. Okay. When you first started working here, I assumed you'd leave like everyone else. I was horrible to you on purpose, trying to speed up the inevitable. I remember, but you didn't leave. You stayed even when I gave you every reason not to. And you didn't just stay. You saw me. Not the wheelchair, not the angry ex-athlete, but me, the person underneath everything, because that person is worth seeing. You changed my life, Caleb. Made me realize I was choosing to be stuck, that I could choose differently. You did the work. I just showed up. Showing up matters more than you think. They sat together in comfortable silence. Finally, Elena spoke again. I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest. Always. Do you think I'll walk again? Really walk, not just stand with support? Caleb considered this carefully. I think you'll walk if you keep working at it. Maybe not the way you walked before, maybe with assistance, but I think you'll get there. More importantly, I think you'll build a life you actually want to live. Walking or not. That's what matters. You really believe that? I do. Elena nodded, resolve settling into her features. Then let's keep going, whatever it takes. 3 months after Caleb started working for Elena, everything had changed. The mansion was no longer silent. Maya's laughter echoed through rooms that had been tomb quiet for years. Elena had started venturing outside, first to the garden, then to local parks, eventually to a museum Maya wanted to visit. She'd graduated from standing with support to taking a few steps with a walker. Not far, not fast, but moving forward. The physical progress was impressive, but the emotional transformation was more profound. Elena smiled now, actually smiled frequently, without the bitterness that had defined her for so long. One Friday evening, Elena asked Caleb and Maya to stay for dinner. I wanted to cook for you. Well, with Maya's supervision, she's the expert. The kitchen was warm and full of activity. Maya directed operations with 7-year-old authority, while Elena and Caleb followed her instructions. More cheese, Ms. Ashford. Everything's better with cheese. Is that a culinary rule? It's Maya's rule, which means it's the best rule, she declared confidently. They ate together at the dining table Elena admitted she hadn't used in over a year. This is nice, she said quietly. Having people here. Having life in this house. You should do it more often, Caleb suggested. I'd like to. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. Okay. My lease on this place ends in 2 months. I've been thinking about not renewing it. Caleb felt his stomach drop. You're moving? Not exactly. I'm buying a different house. Smaller, more accessible, but with enough room for... She paused, suddenly nervous. For a family. A family? I've been alone in this mansion for 2 years, pushing people away because I was scared of being abandoned. But you and Maya have shown me what I was missing. Connection, laughter, purpose beyond my own pain. Maya was watching with interest, sensing something important was happening. What are you saying? Caleb asked carefully. I'm saying that you two have become more than my employee and his daughter. You've become my family. And I wondered if you might consider making that official. Official how? Elena pulled out an envelope, hands slightly shaking. This is a formal offer, not as my assistant, but as my partner in a business I'm starting. Adaptive recreation programs for people with disabilities, using everything I've learned about recovery and adaptation. I'd need someone with your caregiving experience, your patience, your understanding of what actually helps people. Caleb stared at the envelope. You want me as a business partner? I want you in my life. Permanently. The business partnership is just the professional way to make that happen. But Caleb, I'm saying that I love you. Both of you. And I know this is complicated and maybe inappropriate since I was technically your employer. But I couldn't not tell you. Maya literally bounced in her seat. Ms. Ashford loves us. Daddy, she loves us. Caleb felt tears prickling his eyes. Elena, You don't have to answer now. Read the proposal, think about it. But I needed you to know. You changed my life. Both of you. Made me want to live again instead of just existing. Caleb set down the envelope, walked around the table, knelt beside Elena's wheelchair. I don't need to read it. The answer is yes. Yes to the business? Yes to all of it. The business, the partnership, the family, yes. You're sure? I've been falling in love with you for weeks. I just didn't think I was allowed to feel that way about someone I was caring for. But Elena, you're so much more than a client or an employer. You're someone who makes me want to be better, who sees Maya not as a complication, but as a gift, who's shown me that building a new life is possible even when you think everything is broken. Elena pulled Caleb up, kissed him properly for the first time. Maya cheered. Finally, I told Daddy you should kiss weeks ago. They broke apart laughing. Your daughter is very perceptive, Elena observed. She gets it from her mother. Can I call Ms. Ashford Mom? Maya asked. Since we're a family now? Elena's eyes filled with tears. I would be honored. Maya launched herself at both of them, creating a group hug that was awkward and perfect. We should celebrate, she announced. Ice cream. Ice cream it is, Elena agreed. Later, after Maya had fallen asleep on the couch, Caleb and Elena sat together on the balcony. I never thought I'd have this, Elena said quietly. Love, family, a future that felt worth wanting. Neither did I, Caleb admitted. After Claire died, I thought that chapter of my life was over, that I'd raise Maya alone, and that would be enough. Is this enough? Us? This is more than enough. This is everything. They sat together watching the city lights, Maya sleeping peacefully inside, a family formed from broken pieces and unexpected courage. The house that had been silent for so long was now filled with laughter. And Elena Ashford, who had pushed away 23 assistants in 6 months, had finally found someone who refused to leave. Someone who saw worth in her when she couldn't see it in herself. Someone who proved that love wasn't about being perfect or whole, but about showing up, staying present, and choosing each other every day. If you believe that sometimes the greatest healing comes from simply refusing to give up on someone, subscribe to Solo Parent Stories for more tales of unexpected family.